Iraq leads the Arab countries and ranks 7th in the world by buying gold. Quote, Iraq came at the forefront of Arab countries in buying gold during 2024, according to the World Gold Council. The volume of its gold purchases in 2024 amounted to about 20.1 tons, and thus these reserves amount to 162 tons, while Iraq's purchases of gold in 2023 were about 12.3 tons, surpassing the Philippines to join ASEAN's top 4. Quote, Vietnam's ascent in economic rankings is a testament to its robust growth and strategic policies aimed at fostering sustainable development. I do believe that the dinar can go up in value, but I want to clarify, if it does, it'll be based on the same mathematical rules every other country follows. GDP, supply and demand, economic growth, diversification, etc. I consider this, Kurdish oil, to be the final countdown. Many things are waiting for the new exchange rate, but the most important thing is this oil. Is Sadani holding up the release of the budget tables? Mark Z. They will release the budget tables the same time they release the new rate. So they are stuck holding those until they are ready for the rate release. There are so many things that are at a standstill right now waiting for the new exchange rate. That is such an obvious indication that there is a new exchange rate. Every time we see a pause, a delay, it's because it's looking for the new exchange rate. Right now the evidence is showing that Sadani is really tightening up the security on the new exchange rate. This is a very solid statement. Mountain Goat nailed it. This is also exactly what happened when Kuwait revalued. Iraq has already named the basket of currencies to back the dinar. And the gold-backed dinar will back it along with the basket of currencies. Al-Sadani and U.S. Secretary of State discuss areas of coordination between the two countries by phone. Quote, Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sadani received a phone call today, Tuesday, from U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. During the phone call, the two sides discussed the overall bilateral relations between Iraq and the United States, and ways to enhance and develop them. And it was agreed to intensify communication and deepen cooperation. The head of the Parliamentary Human Rights Committee, Arshad al-Salihi, indicated on Thursday that there is a noticeable decline in the work of the Northern Gas Company, considering that mountains of sulfur are located in the company without any government marketing for them. Iraq and BP recently signed a final agreement to rehabilitate and develop 4 oil and gas fields in Kirkuk, with a production capacity in the first phase estimated at about 3 billion barrels of oil, which includes investing in associated gas, rehabilitating and expanding gas facilities in the North Gas Company, and establishing a power station with a capacity of 400 megawatts to achieve the goals of the integrated project. At the same time, al-Salihi, a representative of Kirkuk, said in a statement to Shafaq news agency, the Northern Gas Company in the province needs to reconsider its situation, and it also needs specialized technical minds in its work to contribute to increasing production quantities, indicating that Iraq has gas and imports it from Iran and Turkmenistan. He added, the company must appoint specialists and technicians, away from relying on nominating people for the benefit of parties, because placing the specialist and technician in his position will be reflected in the performance of the North Gas Company and increasing the company's overall production of gas produced. Al-Salihi explained that, the company produces quantities of sulfur, and there are mountains of sulfur thrown into the yards of the Northern Gas Company without searching for a formula to sell or invest these quantities. Former U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs David Schenker said on Thursday that U.S. President Donald Trump included Iraq as part of the maximum pressure policy he imposed on Iran. This came during his hosting on the sidelines of the second day of the Erbil Forum in its third edition, organized by the Rudau Center for Studies. Schenker said, if we look at the policy of Washington, Congress and the U.S. administration towards the Kurdistan region, we find that this will benefit the region in several ways, including supporting the region, as well as keeping U.S. soldiers in Iraqi Kurdistan, adding that, the $20 million that the United States used to give annually to the Peshmerga forces will continue. Regarding the general situation in Iraq and the Trump administration's position on it, the former U.S. diplomat said, I don't think Trump is thinking much about Iraq. but he is taking it as part of the maximum pressure campaign that Trump is applying on Iran. In early February 2025, U.S. President Donald Trump signed a presidential memorandum to restore the policy of maximum pressure on the Iranian government, with the aim of blocking Tehran's path to obtaining a nuclear weapon and confronting its destabilizing influence abroad, according to what the White House announced at the time. While signing the memorandum, Trump described the resolution as very tough on Iran, but expressed his hope that it would not need to be used often. Member of the Parliamentary Legal Committee, Mohammad Anous, confirmed on Thursday that the Iraqi parliament will not be suspended early due to the upcoming legislative elections, stressing that the council has a moral and constitutional responsibility to continue holding its sessions and approving the remaining laws. Anous added to Shafaq news agency that the first and second legislative chapters are sufficient to complete the reading, discussion and voting on many laws, stressing that the council will resume its sessions next week. He pointed out that parliament sessions during the month of Ramadan will be in the evening, i.e. after breakfast, to ensure the continuation of legislative work before the end of the current session. It is noteworthy that the current session of the Iraqi Council of Representatives began on January 9, 2022, and is scheduled to continue for 4 years, which means that it will end on January 8, 2026. According to the amended Electoral Law No. 12 of 2018, legislative elections must be held 45 days before the end of the parliamentary term. Accordingly, the next elections are expected to be held in late November 2025. Recently, the Independent High Electoral Commission began its technical and logistical preparations to ensure that the elections are held on the scheduled date, in coordination with the Prime Minister's office. We know Iraq's value is not based off oil alone. Aside from the obvious natural resources, non-oil revenue streams, she has massive diversity with income streams, all of which are underlying issues to get a proper valuation based on real assets and not based off sanctioned exchange rate that is not an international one. It has been in sub-penny range for over 20 years now. It's Iraq's time to shine. Iraq's ready for full integration into the international arena. U.S. Secretary of State calls Sudani to discuss bilateral agreements. Quote, Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani received a phone call on Tuesday evening from U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio,